Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a very small market update as I've got a really busy day to come. So this video will be relatively short, in which we're going to discuss some topics that I've seen on social media in the previous days. If you enjoy the content, we are getting some new subscribers in. Subscribe to the channel. That's really helpful to grow this channel to the next level. Also, if you want to follow me in my strategy in trading in these markets, if you want to become a better trader, check the website in the description. It's bonsankagroup.com. What about the markets? Well, in general, we do see the euphoria, we do see the bullish hype, which is obviously great. But we also see that we are getting slightly overextended on the markets. So just a small summary on Bitcoin right now is that based on the higher time frames, we definitely have the overall resistance zone around all-time high, which is acting as resistance and can be a relatively remarkable point for people to start selling their positions. Also, we got a vertical move on the price of Bitcoin itself, through which we do know that lower levels have not been tested yet. Best case is around 11.6, seems quite unlikely, but we also have the previous high around 13.9 to 13.5, and we've got the area around 12.5. So these two levels I'm looking at for a potential downwards drop or downwards momentum on Bitcoin, as I do suspect that we're getting into the top area of Bitcoin here, get that final correction before we're going to see or anticipate the next alt season and the next bull cycle. We are in a bull market and altcoins will start to run with Bitcoin, but that's after the next correction occurred. Based on these levels, you can also see previous high, best level to have, another previous high and block that's very valuable to take for any long entries. But on the daily time frame, we can also see that we flipped 15.8, so we might be getting a slight corrective move like this, in which we drop towards 16k, make a slight bounce up towards 17.5, lower high, a final crash, and from there we start to grind back up again. So these levels are the ones that I'm watching. What is likely to occur on the altcoins? Well, we could be seeing that altcoins are going to bounce up in their BTC pair, but drop in their USDT pair, which means that altcoins will drop less than Bitcoin, but they will still drop. So if Bitcoin starts to correct 20%, 30%, altcoins will not be surging up. The moment that Bitcoin bottoms out, altcoins will probably continue to run as the money goes from Bitcoin to altcoins, which means that we're getting quite close to potential top structure on the Bitcoin dominance. And we know from history that Bitcoin dominance is usually topping out in December. I do expect that we're going to copy paste that period and have the first real alt season in the first quarter of 2021. And the first real alt season is quite frequently surrounded by momentum on the majors. They will do well the first period, and after that small caps and mid caps will follow through. But the first thing you should watch is that Bitcoin dominance starts to top out, and we're getting quite close. So I think you should be aware that a little bit more patience is warranted if you want to get it going. Then ETH BTC, we still know that we are in the area that I've been describing as very interesting. I'm looking at a potential bottoming structure like I've discussed previously in these zones. We might be getting one rally up and another crash. That's also possible. I've described that if Bitcoin makes one harsh drop, starts to go sideways for a few weeks, altcoins might have a first slight run, which would mean that ETH BTC goes like this. Overall, I'm looking at entries in this area for ETH BTC. We're getting there. I think we're getting quite close. The overall depression on altcoins is quite high, while Bitcoin is surging relatively fast. And I think retail is overall interested in altcoins itself rather than Bitcoin. Currently, still acting in resistance zone. We do have that we've broken the previous high at 440. But if we lose 440, then I'm going to target the areas around 320 and 366 for ETH. And then we've got deviation above the previous high for ETH. which does not look really well. If we check the lower time frames, we can see that we potentially have a rising wedge structure. We also know that the 440 area is the area that we were watching on the higher time frames, right? And on the lower time frames, we can see that we've got a crucial area at 461. If we drop south, the first level that we would look at for potential bounces is that area around 430 to 440. If we do bounce there and reject at 460, I think we're going to make an inverse head and shoulders pattern and are eager to continue the downwards drop. And then I'm looking at this area here. So as you can see, Bitcoin is making a slight corrective move. We are currently at 17.4 and neither of the USD values of altcoins are surging up, which means that altcoins will drop with Bitcoin. There's no point in having altcoins when there might be a bounce on ETH BTC, but altcoins will drop south with Bitcoin. Chainlink, we have been describing this one. Massive rising wedge structure if we break south. Obviously you want to see a clear confirmation, but the area that we have been describing as resistance is between $13 to $14, and we are there. So if we get this correction, I'm going to look at $10 and $7 to get a position going on Chainlink. Right now we are in resistance and I would love to see a support resistance flip of the 1340 level to occur. And if that does not happen, then I'm not interested in Chainlink at this point. So that's my small update. Once again, subscribe to the channel, check out bonsankagroup.com. We write fundamental reports, full strategy on how to deploy in these markets, educational content on TA, and we've got a discount for 10 days more. Have a wonderful day and I'll see you back tomorrow morning.